So we're going to continue really working on career education. I think if you look at what we've done with everything from truck driving to mechanics, aviation, HVAC, electrical, we've had a huge increase in apprenticeships in the state of Florida over the last couple years, and we're really rocketing up the charts in terms of career education. Now, the cyber is, I think, unique because there's some that do require really significant higher education, but there's also some skills that we can really be implanting in middle and high school, so we're going to look to do that. So this is a really good investment, and I'm happy that we're going to be able to do it. And as I said, I think in the legislative session, I think you're going to see more initiatives taken with respect to cyber, and I think we'll be able to have some more to be able to talk about. Just in response, I watched most of the State of the Union. I did fall asleep during it, I confess. But I got 3 kids, 5 and under, so a lot of times by the time it gets past 9, we're a little tired. But the striking thing is that we've got a lot of problems in this country, and that's obviously something you got to deal with. But it's striking that so many of these problems have been created by Biden and his administration since he's become president. I mean, think about gas. People are chafing at the pump because you've had 40–50% increase in the price of gas. Well, why is that? Because they shut down the Keystone Pipeline, said no oil from Anwar, nothing in federal lands. So consequently, you're importing more from countries like Russia. So that's bad for consumers because they're paying higher, but then it's also bad for our national security because that's effectively the fuel that is giving Putin the ability to do what he's doing. So we were energy independent, and we should be energy independent, and we would be energy independent if it was not for those really misguided policies that have been done over the last year. You look to see about inflation. It's a huge problem, and it's much higher than 7 or 7.5% when you look at things that really matter. Gas is much higher. Food is higher than 7% up. You look at construction costs, building homes and all this, a huge increase in materials to be able to do that. And the question is why is that? Well, one thing that's facilitated it is they've printed trillions and trillions of dollars. And the solution, we're told, is to print trillions and trillions more? No, that will exacerbate the problem. You look at some of the problems with the supply chain. We have these ships sitting there. You have restrictions that have been imposed over the last year or two that have stopped. We in Florida have been part of the solution. We're going to have a great announcement today. We'll come out and we'll probably do something publicly about it sometime this week, where we're bringing companies from the Long Beach port to Florida. We've had an increase in container ships coming into Florida ports because we said we're open. We have capacity. We want to do it. That's why we're working on things like more commercial driver's license, so we have more truck drivers. So you got to get the goods somewhere when you do it. So we've worked to be part of the solution on inflation, but printing trillions of dollars is fueling inflation. It will not cure inflation. And so it was very, I think, frustrating to hear that a problem that was fueled by those policies, that the solution is to do more of the reckless spending. You look at the border. He said we want a secure border. Well, he's the one that opened the border. Are you kidding me? If you look at the increase in people that have come illegally, you had 2 million people come illegally from over 100 different countries over the last year. Communities, particularly rural communities, are having to deal with an increase in methamphetamine, increase in fentanyl. The cartels are basically eating our lunch. That was all as a result of the policy choices that were made upon him becoming president. He mentioned reducing the cost of prescription drugs. Florida has had an application on the federal government's desk for over a year to let us buy the drugs from Canada. We legislated this a couple years ago. We've gone through this Byzantine process, and we've basically sat, and the federal government has done nothing. If they just signed on the dotted line, we actually have warehouse ready. We would start bringing it in. We have the labeling ready, and we would be able to save tens of millions of dollars just for the state of Florida for our drug costs. So yes, lower drug, but you have the opportunity to do some of these things. He says with crime, because crime is totally out of control in many parts of the country, that they don't want to defund, they want to fund police. Well, many of these cities have defunded police or cut police budgets over the last year, year and a half, and that's why you see crime skyrocketing. You have prosecutors that won't prosecute cases. They just let people get away with crime. Of course that's going to breed lawlessness. And the Biden White House, to this day, still supports eliminating cash bail. Well, that's one of the reasons why you've seen crime go off the hook in places like New York, because they put these people right back on the street, and then they end up committing serious criminal offenses. And so, yeah, there's a lot of problems. It just seems to me that most of these problems are of Joe Biden's own creation. And with that, I'll take some questions. Yes.